Meet Princess Leonor, the future Queen of Spain. Imagine being born into a family where your future has already been written into the history books. Imagine growing up knowing that one day, millions of people could look to you as their queen. For Princess Leonor of Spain, this isn't a movie. It's her reality. She is young, elegant, highly educated, and already carrying responsibilities that most people will never experience. But who is the young woman behind the royal title? How was Leonor prepared for the crown? And what could Spain look like when she eventually becomes queen? Today, we're taking a fascinating journey through the life of Princess Leonor, the future Queen of Spain. And stay until the end, because we'll look at one of the biggest responsibilities waiting for her in the future. Princess Leonor was born on the 31st of October 2005, in Madrid, Spain. Her full name is Leonor de Bourbon y Ortiz. She is the eldest daughter of King Felipe VI and Queen Letizia of Spain. That makes her much more than simply a member of the Spanish royal family. Leonor is the heir to the Spanish throne. Her younger sister is Infanta Sofia. While both sisters were born into royal life, Leonor's position is unique. As the firstborn child of King Felipe VI, she is first in the current line of succession. That means that when her father is no longer king, Leonor is expected to inherit the throne, assuming the constitutional order remains unchanged. But becoming queen isn't simply about wearing a crown. It requires preparation, and Leonor has been preparing for that responsibility from a remarkably young age. Royal life may look glamorous from the outside. There are beautiful dresses, palaces, ceremonies, official photographs, international events. But behind all of that is something much more serious. Preparation. Leonor's education has been closely connected to her future responsibilities. She has studied both in Spain and abroad, gaining experiences outside the traditional royal environment. But perhaps one of the most fascinating parts of her preparation has been her military education. Why would a future queen need military training? Because Spain's constitutional monarchy gives the monarch an important role as commander-in-chief of the armed forces. So Leonor's military training isn't simply about learning how to march or wear a uniform. It is part of preparing her to understand the institutions she could one day represent. She has trained with Spain's army, navy and air and space force. And that tells us something important about the future queen. Her preparation is not being limited to royal ceremonies. She is being introduced to different parts of Spanish national life. When people imagine a princess, they often picture a tiara, an elegant gown and a palace. But Leonor has also been seen wearing something very different, a military uniform. Her military training has attracted considerable attention because it represents one of the most serious aspects of her future role. She has undertaken training at Spain's military academies and experienced the discipline expected of members of the armed forces. For a young woman who may eventually become commander-in-chief, understanding military life can be an important part of preparation. And there is another interesting detail. Leonor's military journey has allowed the public to see a different side of her personality. The formal royal image is replaced by discipline, physical training and teamwork. It is a reminder that behind the ceremonies is a young woman preparing for an enormous responsibility. Leonor has also grown up under the guidance of her parents, King Felipe VI and Queen Letizia. Her father knows exactly what it means to inherit the Spanish throne. Felipe became king in 2014, following the abdication of his father, King Juan Carlos I. Now, his eldest daughter is being prepared to follow him. Queen Letizia, meanwhile, came from outside the traditional royal aristocracy. Before becoming queen, she worked as a journalist. Her background gives Leonor a particularly interesting family perspective. On one side is centuries of royal tradition. On the other is a mother who built a professional career before entering royal life. And alongside Leonor is her younger sister, Sofia. The two sisters have grown up together in the public eye, although their future roles are different. Leonor is the heir. Sofia is not expected to inherit the throne unless the line of succession changes. This distinction has shaped much of Leonor's upbringing. From a young age, she has had to understand that her future responsibilities will be different. As Leonor has grown older, her public responsibilities have increased. She has attended major national celebrations, delivered speeches and represented the Spanish royal family at important events. One of the most memorable moments came in 2019, when she delivered a speech at the Princess of Girona Foundation Awards. But another moment became especially significant in her journey. On her 13th birthday, Leonor delivered her first public speech, reading part of the Spanish Constitution during a commemorative event. For a future monarch, the symbolism was powerful. The Constitution is at the heart of Spain's modern political system, and Leonor's relationship with it would become even more significant as she approached adulthood. In 2023, on her 18th birthday, Leonor took the constitutional oath before Spain's parliament. That was a major milestone. It wasn't simply a birthday. It was an important constitutional moment in the life of Spain's future queen. So what happens when Princess Leonor eventually becomes queen? First, there is one important point. We don't know exactly when that day will come. Her father, King Felipe VI, remains Spain's reigning monarch. So any discussion about Leonor's future reign is necessarily about what could happen. But if she eventually succeeds her father, she will become Queen of Spain. And the responsibilities will be enormous. She would represent Spain nationally and internationally. She would meet presidents, prime ministers and other heads of state. She would participate in important state ceremonies. And, under Spain's constitutional framework, she would have a role connected to the country's armed forces. But perhaps her biggest challenge would be something that cannot be learned from a textbook. Leadership. A monarch must understand the country they represent. Spain is a diverse nation with different regions, languages, traditions and political viewpoints. The future queen would therefore have to represent people with very different perspectives. That is a huge responsibility. This is perhaps the biggest question. What kind of queen will Princess Leonor become? Will she follow exactly in her father's footsteps? Or will she create her own style? We simply don't know yet. But there are clues. Her generation has grown up in a very different world from previous generations of European royalty. Technology has transformed communication. Social media has changed how public figures interact with audiences. Young people expect greater transparency. And modern monarchies face constant scrutiny. Leonor will therefore inherit not only a crown. She will inherit the challenge of adapting an ancient institution to a modern society. Her ability to connect with younger generations could become one of her greatest strengths. From a little girl, growing up inside the Spanish royal family to a young woman receiving military training, Princess Leonor's journey has already been remarkable. She has spent years learning what it means to represent Spain. She has stood beside her parents at major events. She has addressed the Spanish people. She has taken an important constitutional oath. And she continues preparing for a future that very few people could ever imagine. But remember this, Leonor is not queen yet. She is the Princess of Asturias and heir to the Spanish throne. Her story is still being written. And one day, if she succeeds her father, the young princess we've watched grow up could become Queen Leonor of Spain. The question is no longer simply, who is Princess Leonor? The bigger question is, what kind of queen will she become? What do you think? Will Princess Leonor become a powerful and modern queen? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to follow Princess Leonor's journey toward the Spanish throne, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because the story of Spain's future queen is only beginning.